Continuing on our story, we're on book 6, coming towards the end, chapter 2, The Approach to the Palace. The goddess Athena was also watching over Odysseus and Telemachus. Just 2 days before, Athena had helped Odysseus return to the shores of Ithaca and disguised him as a beggar. When Odysseus had hobbled to the hut of his faithful swineherd, the old man had not recognized him. Later, when Telemachus arrived at the hut, he also did not recognize Odysseus. But when father and son were alone, Athena magically took away Odysseus disguised. Since their joyful reunion, Odysseus and Telemachus had been making a plan to fight the suitors whose numbers exceeded 100. Now huddled near an evening campfire, father and son reviewed their plot. "You will go to the palace first," Odysseus said. "I will follow in my disguise as a beggar. Remember, you must not show any sign that you know me, even if someone tries to do me harm." "And you will tell me when it is time to hide the weapons?" asked Telemachus. "Yes," said Odysseus. "Athena has promised to help us. When she appears and gives me the sign, we will take the spears and shields from the hall and hide them in a storeroom upstairs." Their discussion was interrupted by the return of the swineherd. Athena's magic again gave Odysseus the appearance of a lowly beggar. As the three men prepared their supper together, father and son held their plan close to their hearts. The next morning, at the first light of dawn, Telemachus left the swineherd's hut. His mind was filled with thoughts of the coming fight as he hurried down the rocky path toward his home. When Telemachus reached the palace, his old nurse, Euryclea, greeted him joyfully. The other maids of the house surrounded him and embraced him. Soon his mother appeared. She threw her arms around him and wept. "Sweet light of my eyes," Penelope cried, "I feared I would never see you again." "I have traveled far, mother, as far as the kingdom of Sparta," said Telemachus. "King Menelaus and Queen Helen showed me great hospitality there and showered me with gifts." "And what news do you bring of your father?" Penelope asked. Telemachus looked at his mother sadly, remembering his promise to Odysseus to tell no one of his father's return to Ithaca. "I know only this," he said softly. "King Menelaus said that long ago the old man of the sea revealed to him that Odysseus was being held captive on the island of the goddess Calypso. He cannot leave because he no longer has any ships to carry him home." As Telemachus told his mother more about his journey, Odysseus was heading toward the palace. Accompanied by the swineherd, he hobbled down the rocky road in his disguise. As they neared the palace gates, Odysseus saw an old bony dog lying on a garbage heap. Tears came to Odysseus' eyes, for he recognized the dog as his own beloved hound, Argus. When Argus caught sight of Odysseus, he seemed to recognize his master. The old dog was so feeble he could not stand, but he joyfully wagged his tail. It pained Odysseus that he could not go to Argus lest he give himself away. "Why does that hound lie abandoned and uncared for?" he asked the swineherd. "He looks as if he were once a fine animal." "Aye, he was once the master's favorite," said the swineherd. "But with the palace in such disorder, no one thinks to care for him anymore. For all those years he has waited faithfully to lay eyes upon his beloved master again. He knows not that Odysseus died a long time ago." As Odysseus sadly followed the swineherd through the palace gates, the old dog closed his eyes and quietly passed into the peace and darkness of death. His greatest wish had finally come true. His master had come home. I'm going to pick this up again in just a little bit.